Alright, I came across this brief video from KSTP TV, Channel 5's website from May 15th, 2020, with Dr. Michael Osterholm. He was saying that in the video that there's evidence, there's increasing data indicating that the virus is transmitted in a very big way by aerosols. But he's also saying that the surgical masks and the cloth masks don't stop those aerosols. Instead, the virus goes right around the gaps in the cloth and surgical masks. They need to have the N95 masks are the only thing that'll stop it, because they're, if properly fitted, then there's like a seal around where the mask touches your face. But that's not the case with cloth and surgical masks. They don't have that tight seal, which leads me to think, well, it sounds like these are the type of aerosols that are so tiny that, well, you don't even see them. They're the type of aerosols that get suspended in the air and waft freely once they get out into the air, and they do not obey any invisible 6-foot radius social distance around people. Instead, they're just these invisible viruses. They're just suspended in the air. They waft freely through the air. They're not, they're not like the larger particles, the larger droplets that are stopped by the surgical and cloth masks. Now those, even the fine ones, even the fine mists, that we think of as tiny, but not as tiny as these aerosols that are just, from the sounds of it, the ones that kind of go right through the gaps in the sides of the mask. Those droplets, those might be limited to by approximately 6 feet, but these extremely tiny aerosols they're like suspended in a solution, gaseous solution that we call air, that is circulated via the natural motions of involved with in any kind of indoor atmosphere. Both the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems, the HVAC systems, move the air around, along with people walking around, moves the air around, and just through the natural motion of gravity, warm air rising because it's lighter, and then the cool air falling because it's cooler, and that causes circulation in itself in a room, even without any kind of forced pushing of the air around. So, if that's the case, then it seems like that would throw everything out the window. No pun intended. That whereby acting like there's some big difference between these big box corporate retails that have been allowed to stay. Most of them have been allowed to stay fully open throughout the pandemic. And so I think one of the reasons justifying that is that I think that they, like somebody like Walls might try to say, well, you can leave your mask on. Whereas in the bars and restaurants, you have to take a mask off in order to eat. But if these masks aren't doing anything, then the viruses are getting transmitted just as easy. Should be transmitted just as easily when you're wearing a mask as compared to not wearing a mask. And so it shouldn't matter whether or not you're in a crowded big box hardware store or at a restaurant. Either way, the people are, if they're breathing, then and they're not wearing like an N9 fresh N95 mask that's properly fitted, and then the virus, or if there is any, if anybody is transmitting the virus, well, they're transmitting it in a big box store, corporate big box store, just as easily as a quaint indie brick and mortar store, restaurant, or bar. And so it's not as though the corporate big boxers have magic air, where that instantly kills the virus as soon as you exhale. So it's like there's a special treatment given to the corporations by the Walz administration, which is completely unfair. But it almost seems like it's designed to destroy. His restrictions seemed almost like they're designed to destroy these indie brick and mortar bars, restaurants, and establishments and gyms, so that these the corporations, once the indie brick and mortar businesses are destroyed, then the corporate big corporations can swoop in and take up that market share that those the indies once held. It's really a very suspicious. And why are we having these mask mandates if they don't work? Now, someone might say, well, that was back in May. Well, maybe they've come up with some new data. But yeah, we've come up with a new data, like the Danish mask study that showed that there was no statistical difference within the community. They actually had a study where one certain members of the community wore a mask and the other members did not, and there was no statistical difference between the mask wearers and the non-mask wearers in terms of contracting COVID-19. And you would think that'd be good news, but I still have to. I don't understand. So as though people still want to continue on with these wearing masks as though they enjoy it or something. I don't know, or if they're just so emotionally invested in the position that these masks work and that lockdowns are necessary, and they don't want to even consider the possibility that they're wrong, that they've been doing this all for nothing for so long, and they don't want to consider that their favorite politicians are deceiving them. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But yeah, I'll play that clip from Osterholm, and yeah, these cloth masks and surgical masks everybody wearing. It doesn't sound like they do anything for with preventing the spread of COVID-19. That's about it. That's about it. And that's straight from Osterholm, one of the most respected names in that talks about the COVID-19 pandemic on the mainstream media. So, well, I'll play the clip now, and you make up your mind. I mean, you decide for yourself. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, thanks for watching. Mm-hmm.
We have increasing data today to support that this virus is transmitted in a very big way by aerosols. The surgical mask and the cloth masks we have today will surely stop you from getting big particles into your face, but they don't stop the aerosols.
U of M's Dr. Michael Osterholm says only the N95 respirators are able to block those small aerosols because they fit tight to your face. All other masks don't.
The virus is basically going right around the sides of these open gaps in the mask.